So good evening. I think this is the last session, and I know that we've got an hour plus schedule for this session, but let me assure you that we've taken a collective decision to reduce the time so that we won't hold you up before drinks and dinner. So this is an interesting session because what we will be discussing here is about the impact of digital technologies in helping to create an omni-channel network, and in the context of an omni-channel network, the implications that it has. But I think more importantly, what we would like to dwell on in this panel discussion is about the impact of digital technologies in all kinds of businesses. So whether it is retail, whether it is distribution, whether it is what you can do for the small retailers through supporting them through ONDC, whether it's in terms of ensuring compliance, like you saw the gentleman from Aparajita who was earlier talking about compliance. So there is a pervasive impact of digital technologies. So when we come to think about it, one of the things that we must remember is that digital technologies have played a very important role in all our lives. So as retailers, for example, it enables us to be able to communicate with the customers, to be able to connect with the customers. And today you see a whole bunch of hybrid technologies. People can order from wherever they are. They can come to the store and pick it up, or they can come to the store and place an order and get the company to deliver it in their homes. People are using digital technologies in order to be able to determine where exactly you need to position and place your store. There are technologies available, and we'll talk about that, which help you to be able to determine, once you put up a store, where are the people coming in from, where are the parts of the store that they're going to, how much time are they spending in different parts of the store. There are technologies which are available in terms of helping you to determine, which Vedant talked about earlier, which is the best assortment for that particular location. So there is technologies available around that, translating that backward in terms of replenishment, translating that backwards in terms of inventory management. You have a multitude of customers walking into a store, so you need to know what that customer is all about. Where are they coming in from? What do they want to buy? How frequently do they come in and buy? What is the value that they buy? Are they completing their entire basket in your store? Are they going to other places? So that's another aspect that we can think about. And now, of course, with customers coming in, suppliers are the other ones who are now connected, and they're getting digitally savvy. So with a digitally savvy supplier, your ability to integrate with them and to make sure that you have just-in-time inventory management is another area that we can think about when we consider digital technologies. All of these transactions are, of course, supported on a payment system. And today you have payment systems where for a customer with a smartphone, with a feature phone, they can actually make a payment to you. They can do it with a credit card. You can do it with NFC. And there are a whole host of payment technologies which you can use, both card and cardless payment technologies, which is, again, all enabled through various payment stacks that the government has developed. You also have, in addition to this, with all of these things happening between customer, store, the products that they are buying, the location where they're buying from, the frequency with which they buy, all of this generates huge amounts of data. And this data then translates into intelligence about a location, intelligence about a customer, intelligence about a particular brand or product. And then, of course, a lot of that data translates after that into analytics, helps you to be able to plan better. And of course, now we know with AI, there is a lot more that is going to be happening with data. So these are broadly the areas that when you think of retail and distribution, that you can imagine what digital technologies can actually begin to play. So let me first pick on one of these, which is data, and turn to maybe Srikkanth, if he's there, and ask Srikkanth about data. And data is something that today, there's a lot of concern about privacy. There is a lot of concern about what people will do with data, whether they're going to leak your private data, whether they're going to misuse your data. So what are some of the things that the government is actually proposing in terms of what we should do to protect data, and how is the government going to enforce this?
Thanks, Bijou. Thanks, Bijou. Good evening, all. Since in the evening, lot of speakers have discussed about the customers' information, customer shopping experiences, and everything related to customer. So during the process, everyone collects some data. First of all, what is data? Data is a set of information. It can be an opinion, it can be a fact, it can be anything. Like what generally a retailer collects, it collects mobile number, it collects location, it collects unique device number, it collects credit card details. So all this data, whether a retailer can collect, the answer is, till the other day, there was no clarity, because what the law governed in India was Information Technology Act 2000. But very recently, government has come up with Digital Personal Data Protection Act 2023, where it is clearly mentioned what kind of information you can collect, how you can collect, for what purposes you can process it, and how do you store it. Of course, there is very severe penalties. If you breach any of these obligations, then penalty can go up to 250 crores. So can a retailer, can any other, not only retailer, can any other company or any other person can do a surveillance on the customer? I'll give you an example. What happened in some 50 years ago, there was one notorious criminal, Khadak Singh, who was in the state of Uttar Pradesh. He was a history sheeter. So whenever there is a problem, police used to come and they used to depute a couple of constables outside his residence to watch him. So fed up with this kind of thing, he has approached from district court to Supreme Court, finally Supreme Court, and come up and said that there is no such provision that we can restrict the state authority to put someone under surveillance or to stop them. The same thing has changed after this Aadhaar case. What happened in Aadhaar, Justice Puttu Swamy is the judge of Karnataka High Court. He challenged the Aadhaar system because in Aadhaar, the state has more than 130 crores data subjects. We all are data subjects. End of the day, we are a customer as well as we are a data subject. We own certain data. Whether the state can own is all data related to personal information. They have all personal information, your iris, your date of birth and everything. What happens in case there is a breach? What happens tomorrow you find all your numbers, all your mobile numbers, all your sensitive personal information in the public domain? So then the Supreme Court, 9 judges benches unanimously said that a citizen or a customer will have a fundamental right, like you have a fundamental right to life, is a part of fundamental right, that right to privacy. So right to privacy was first time as recognized as a fundamental right in India in 2017. Based on that series of regulations has come, finally it has culminated into an act of 2023. So now coming to the retailers, we collect the data and we store it. So what does we have any responsibility? Yes, as a data fiduciary, we have a responsibility where we store this data. We store in data somewhere, it should be a security proof, because there cannot be any infringement of your data or your data cannot be leaked. So these kind of precautions you need to prove. So depend upon what kind of information you are storing. Earlier we used to store in some C drive or some server. Now the concept of data lakes has come. So no need to store in a particular medium. You can put everything in a data lake, and in the data lake you run a program. Now AI has come, just give instructions. They'll tell that what purchases I made in last 10 months, whether I used a credit card or UPI or any other mode, and what is my behavior and how frequently I visit the website, what are the So they'll run a script, they run a catches, so they'll understand the entire digital footprint. So these all you can do it, but provided you need to inform your customers saying that I'll collect the data for this purpose. How you'll inform? There will be a privacy policy a retailer has to upload on his website, and before that, any person with is accessing your app, your website, you need to take his consent. Suppose what happened, I visit 10 websites. Do I need to give 10 times consent? Now, government has come up with one simple solution to this. Tomorrow or next month, you will have an app, consent manager. A consent manager who acts on behalf of all the entities. So you can download one or two consent managers and you can give consent. You can choose what kind of data you want to put. You can choose how long your data has to be there on the website. You can choose when your data has to be erased by single click of the buttons. So the entire data can be collected. So in the age of digitalization, the concept we are going into marketing concept, every day it's being changing, especially your digital footprints are changing. Considering this, the retailer has to ensure the basic compliances, so in order to avoid the huge
Sure.
penalties.
Thanks, Srikkanth. But basically, I think what he's saying is that data that we've always got used to in the past is tomorrow going to become a lot more difficult to control. You have a lot of penalties in case you're not able to guard data, and data leaks are something that you have to protect against. We talked about digital technologies in store, and maybe I'll just turn to Anant and ask him about the kind of work that his company is doing in terms of digital technologies. Because one of the things that we'd all love to know is that if a customer comes into a store, is the customer going to the left or to the right? Is the customer standing in the front set of shelves or going to the back? How much time are they spending? Where are most customers going? And Anant, I think, has done a lot of work in his company in this space. Could you just briefly tell us about the kind of intelligence that you derive out of customer movements within your store?
Sure. Hello, everyone. So, in today's scenario, it is essential to understand shopper behavior. And you can only do that once a shopper enters your store. And how do you do that? So, there are sensors available which can be installed across the store, right from the point of entry point, a shopper enters. So, we count a number of shoppers entering a store. Now, the second level of analysis is, suppose 100 shoppers are entering. So what is the demography of those shoppers? How many are male? How many female are there walking into your store? So that is also possible. We provide that type of analytics. Then where does this shopper actually goes? How much time is he spending in a particular zone? And even after spending some time in a particular zone, is it converting into sales? So we can marry this data with POS data. Okay, to understand what are the conversion ratios and how your product placement across the store is actually performing, and is it converting into sales. So you can understand what are the cold and hot spots inside your store, and accordingly you can do product placement. So if there's a hot spot inside your store, you can place your higher margin products over there that can replicate into better margins for a retailer. So such type of analytics are there, and we are providing
Thank
that.
you. So effectively what we're talking about is you can understand customer movements within your store. You don't just have to rely on POS data which says these are the number of bills that you did. You don't have to rely on unreliable data of how many people actually entered the store. All of this is possible through technology and several more things. Kumar, if I were to turn to you, because you're also in the digital technology within the store space, as well as doing a lot of work with ONDC, helping retailers to be able to, progress and evolve to becoming, to trading on ONDC. So when you really think about it, which are some of the focus areas that you have seen retailers struggle with? Is it in terms of, let's say, catalog management? Is it in terms of actually their POS systems? Is it in terms of their inventory management? Is it CRM? Which are the areas that you typically find as a problem?
So before coming to this, your answer, right? So let me go a little step back. So when we interact with a retailer, I think the retailers are of different breed, unlike the startups like us, right? So it's an immediately when they think of any technology, it has to work on the mental model of ROI. Kitna aayo, kitna gayo. So if it works, then comes adaptation of the technology. So on the mental model, the ROI has to be very clear to them. If I have to adopt a new technology, how much I will be spending, not only in terms of money, in terms of upscaling my, employees, or, changing, whether I need to change my whole infrastructure, the physical infrastructure to adopt that technology. So the finest example that we have seen, right, so where our focus has been, without changing much, with nominal investment, whether you can have the total tech innovation within your organization. So that has been our primary focus, and that is what we are doing today. So, if we, and from sector, because we work in cross-sector, right, from the groceries, we are working with, brands like ITC, where we have a huge target of digitizing all kiranas of the India, through ONDC, to large, retail organizations, to the food industries. Across the industries, the focus has been totally different, right? So, yes, when you have to go for digital, I think the catalog, I will give the number one as a criteria. So unless until our catalog is correct, so and if you have to focus to people who are not coming to store, I think that is what the whole game all about, right? With a good catalog, even a low quality product could be sold.
Great. So Romit, if I were to come to you about the challenges which happen in distribution, because at ITC you are not, directly in retail. One time you used to be in the apparel retail business, but if you were to look at it, largely you're in the distribution business. So when your retailers are getting modernized, what are the kind of things that you all are doing on the distribution side in order to be able to keep up and align with what the retailers are doing?
Sure. First of all, thank you so much. So ITC being, you all know, a Calcutta-based company, one of the largest FMCG brands of the country. I mean, for us, retailers are the bread and butter for our business. We, though there is an advent of we talk about modern trade e-commerce, but mind you, still more than 80% of our business contribution is coming from the traditional retailers, as we call it. And it becomes really important that we, and many such companies like ours, protect their turf accordingly to this onslaught of e-commerce and modern trade. So where I'm coming from is when you talk to a retailer, and I'm talking about a very traditional kind of a mom and pop store, the first, distribution challenge or I'll say overall challenge which is faced to us is that, look, there is this e-commerce and modern trade setup which has come in and kind of taken our business. So what should we do in that kind of a scenario? So we are working at multiple fronts, and one of the areas which I like to talk about is on the lines of how we have integrated our distribution systems to help the retailer. So for example, we also incidentally have an e-commerce app called ITC e-Store. Now, for a common man, it may see that it is an e-commerce app. But the way we use that app is that we are using the data. It is like a data lake for us. So one, it gives a lot of consumer insighting to us in terms of pin code wise cohorting of what kind of assortments are being used, say, for example, within Calcutta in Park Street versus, Havda or any other town. Now, how do we integrate it back to our service to the retailer? Now, so we have developed in-house data AI-led, AI/ML-led, solutions, wherein what we do is we use the consumer cohorts in terms of what is the requirement of that particular pin code stroke area to the extent of store level, which is required for the right assortment to be given to the retailer. Because mind you, one of the biggest things, as I said, which retailer is, and Kumar talked about, is to generate the right ROI, which is nothing but space and the discoverability of pricing. So to help with them, what we come up with is, obviously there is a big science behind it, but just to cut the long story short, the there are certain recommendation engines which help us in identifying what is the right assortment which the retailer is required. And it is not, there was traditional way of us going and asking for whether you need this is product or not. Now the engine recommends that this is the right product, this is the right SKU, which is required for A type of retailer versus a B type of retailer who is located in a particular area. So what it helps the retailer is that it obviously manages his ROI better. It gives him the chance of a higher sellout because of the fast mover products which we are able to provide that. So this being one of the areas, I just quickly touch upon a couple of other things also which we are working closely with retailers. Is another area where we work with them is the space management. Now what is happening is there's a lot of retailers who consumers still, and coming from FMCG, consumer still needs the touch and feel of the product. So the layout at the outlet becomes really important. So we work closely with retailers, some of them, wherein we suggest what is the right layout which is required for your kind of an outlet, wherein there is more opportunity of a consumer touch and feel rather than a OTC kind of a transaction which will happen. And to top it all, there is something called category management or planogramming, as we call it, wherein what we help them with is that what is the right hotspot for various products to be kept and which are those categories which should be kept in the front of the store vis-a-vis the back of the store. So these are few of the examples which we, regularly work with retailers. I can
So effectively
go on
what you're saying is that you're helping retailers to understand their catchment, the profile of the population, what needs to be kept in that context, help them to be able to design the display of the products so that it actually encourages people to buy the faster selling products which are closer to the front and in the eye line level, those kind of things.
Correct. And in fact, right now though we are doing for only our products, but time will come when this technology, as we have seen today, with various solutions which are available, that it will help in managing the retailer the complete inventory. Mind you, a single, I'll say a Kirana shop manages more than 6,000 to 8,000 SKUs. It's very difficult for them to, the point which Kumar also mentioned about catalog management. It's a nightmare right now. So these are some of the steps which we are participating in.
Pratik, so if I were to switch to you, because you're also in the distribution business, where do you see some of these challenges or opportunities for digital technologies in your distribution business?
Thank you, Bijou sir.
It might help also if you were to just tell them what business you're in and what exactly are the products that you make.
Yeah, well, thank you so much, Bijou sir. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm from Mukhorochok, Chanachur, which is a very household name in every Bengali family. So we are into manufacturing of chanachur snacks, basically namkeens and all these categories. So we started from 1950 and it's a 73 years old company. I'm the fourth generation over here. So it was started by my great grandfather from a small shop. And from there we expanded to our distribution to Pan India. And also we are exporting to USA, UK, Australia, New Zealand and few other countries. So most of my points that I was about to cover has already been covered by my fellow panelists. Anyway, being a FMCG company, the field sales is the main traditional sales is a primary thing that is there in the distribution channel. But from the times of the pandemic, we have seen there is a huge change in the customer buying pattern. They have shifted more towards a convenient channel of distribution, the online delivery and the home delivery system. So starting from the retailers that he was talking about, what we do is that we create small distributors so that they can cater only a small part of the catchment area. And that helps in their ROI, the space management and the distribution. What we do is that we supply the retailers only a small amount of quantity so that the fresh goods can be distributed to the retail shops, which allows the customers to get a fresh taste of the product. So in this way, we have almost like 60 distributors in Calcutta only. So this is only primarily because they can supply to the retail shops on a daily basis, because this is a product which has to be in the stores at a greater frequency. And as he was mentioning that the greatest challenge today is that retailers do not have so much of space in their outlet. So keeping so many of products and the SKUs are increasing day by day. So that is a huge challenge for us to get the shelf space. But having said that, after pandemic, due to the omnichannel experience of the customers, we have been able to supply through e-commerce also and modern trade. So even though there is a boom in the e-commerce trade, in India there is only a 7 to 8% occupancy of this, all over sales in the retail that accounts from the online channel. So if we take my example, our company's example, previous to pandemic, the online sales contributed to around 5 to 6% of our overall sales. But since pandemic, we have seen a drastic change. It accounts for around 15 to 20% of the total sales through online sales. We have presence in all the e-commerces, modern trade outlets also. So in modern trade, we have a contribution of around 20 to 25%. And modern trade helps us to cater to so many of our SKUs to the customers because we have a huge space over there. So it can be, the customers can pick and choose from there on their own. And the rest of the 55 to 65% of the total contribution of the sales, it comes from the modern trade, the traditional trade method.
So do you do anything in terms of, let's say, digitizing your distribution?
Yeah.
Does your distributor know how much are the retailers buying every day?
Absolutely.
What is the kind of stock levels they have?
We have apps so that the distributors can take the orders from the outlets, and we also have our own software so that we can track what is the goods or inventory that is there in the distributors go down. So that way we can manage that the replenishment is getting quicker, and the products doesn't get damaged, or it doesn't get too much towards the expiry date or something. So we do all these things and manage this way. And since we are a FMCG company, we try to cater to the customers wherever and whenever they are wanting. So being present in all these channels helps us to cater to the customers in a better way.
Sure. Ashim, if I were to turn to you, and you're in the RFID business, which has been your main focus. And this is a business which has been cutting edge for a long while. It's come in many years back, but unfortunately for a variety of reasons, it's not really gained traction. Though in terms of value to the retailer, it's got immense value to the retailer. So what might help is for you to talk about what exactly you do with RFID. And the second part of it is to be able to address the challenges that you're facing in getting retailers to adopt RFID.
Thank you, Bijou. So, when we talk about data, I would like to share with you the positioning of RFID. So in data, there is data capture, there is data communication, there is data storage, and then there is data processing. So at RFID, what we are doing is we are just at the front end layer, we are at the data capture. So garbage in, garbage out is what we talk. So the accuracy and the speed of what the data capture is what will derive your analytics. Now, if you want to do any business intelligence, if you want to do any analytics, the kind of data capture is very, very important, and where everybody is now moving from predictive analytics to prescriptive analytics, So people would like to prescribe what they want to analyze, rather than predict. We have gone one step ahead. So when we talk about RFID, we are like the blockchain of the physical world. What blockchain does for the digital space, RFID is doing for the physical world. When we do the analytics or on the data capture, we are not doing any data capture on the customer or the consumer side. We are working on the object or the product per se. So the data is all related to the product. But however, it is by tracking or tracing the product, we can get the consumer behavior patterns. Like we do something called as fitting room analytics. What we do is, on the entrance of a fitting room, we put a RFID sensor. Every product or every apparel is tracked. We just trace what is getting inside the fitting room and what is getting sold. Okay, so you get a conversion analytics. Okay, so we don't go to the consumer level, which consumer has bought, because at the invoicing and the billing and the POS is doing it. But this gives a fantastic analytics for the next season's design. So if there is a 40% conversion or a 100% conversion, what attracts the eyeballs but that never gets sold, and what is getting sold without getting into the fitting room as well. So your planogram, somebody discussed about planogram here. So how you put your planogram and everything. It's coming to omni-channel, the data capture. If your data capture is accurate and fast, your omni-channel safety stock from 2 we are bringing to 0. With the help of the data accuracy and data capture, we have something called as a Geiger search, where if you want to pick a particular product for omni-channel, the picking time, which was typically in hours, is now less than 1 minute. The RFID will guide you to the right product. So there are so many use cases in inventory, in supply chain, for which RFID we are doing. And Bijou, very important point you brought in, like, yes, this technology is there. We are in RFID for last 23 years. I started this company right after college, and we are doing nothing but RFID since then. We have seen this in FASTag. Today in FASTag, we are collecting 200 crore rupees every day. Okay, i-TEK contributes to 60% of that collection today. We have 60% market share in. But in FASTag also, we had to observe and go through the same journey. In 2007-8, we had applied for a patent for tax collection on vehicles using RFID. And in 2012, the government decided to use RFID as one of the means. And in 2014, because of the ministry effort of the ministry and this current government, 14 and 19, we are where we are today. So in the same way, the technology is still the same. What we were doing on the vehicle windshield in 2007 or 8, we are still doing there today. In the same way in retail, our presentations to retailer, my deck, the color and the theme and the schema has changed, but the content still remained the same for a decade. Everybody thinks that the RFID cost has come down, but the perception has changed. The value has increased. We were talking of a 5 cent or a 10 cent tag in 2010, and we are still talking of a 5 cent or a 10 cent tag in 2023. But the retailers have understood, and we solution providers also have become more responsible. We have built more use cases around it. My friend here mentioned about ROI, and yeah, the ROIs are now getting justified. People have understood where the real source is lying at, in RFID. So with all these 10, 20 different use cases, I think the retailers are realizing. Now we are at a stage where it is not whether we have to implement RFID, but when we have to implement RFID, how we have to implement RFID. It's not a technology challenge anymore, it's an adoption and operational challenge. So, and in any technology adoption, I think we have to go through this curve, and we are happy that it didn't die, okay, because we are very, very passionate about this technology, and I think this is the future. And everybody, especially in fashion and apparel, footwear, digital electronics, jewelry, these are the formats which will adopt RFID. In FMCG and few other technologies where vision might work better, like I'll just take one more minute with your permission. In fashion, the color shades, the sizes, and when the apparels are folded and kept on any one or each other, RFID is the only mean for identification and data capture. But if you talk about something like a Coke or a loaf of bread or eggs, with a vision technology with 3 dimensions, you can get to know whether it is 200 ml or 500 ml, what brand it is. But in apparel and footwear and bags and some of these retail things, vision will not work. And the only thing which will work in such kind of environment and which is going to be cost effective is going to be RFID. And that's why we are focusing on these retail formats, but the other formats will follow. We are building on the use case.
Sure.
Thank you.
Shitanshu, since that question was raised about using it for the trial room, which has been one of the things that many apparel companies have done, what are the kind of things that you've done in the turtle business which actually enables and rather leverages some of these technology developments, whether it is in terms of RFID, whether it's in terms of working back-end, and I think after this I'll also ask the same to Bhaskar because he got great mention during Vedant's fireside chat here. So it would be useful for the audience to figure out, where are some of these, forget the standard POS and forget the supply chain, but where are some of these customer-facing tools that you have used within the apparel business?
So the honest answer to that is that, we haven't done anything. And I would like to share a couple of stories, which are my own experiences. And hopefully that will explain this point. So the first one is, I had just gone to London with my wife, morning time, 11 o'clock. And we shopping in the Zara store, and she's picked out 7, 8 pieces of clothing. And now I'm sweating that, oh God, I have to carry these packets all day long as we shop. And something struck, and I said, why don't I just scan it and see what happens? I have the Zara India store app. And I scanned it, and 90% of those products are available on the India store with Indian pricing. So I just added to cart, shopped, paid by my Indian credit card. And by the time we reached back home, the packets were already delivered. So it saved me the hassle of lugging those packets all day. It saved me excess baggage on my airline. And that truly speaks about the power of technology. If, well implemented as a consumer, I was amazed, that this can happen. And it also was 10% cheaper, by the way, the pricing of the garments in India. The second one is, I was in the Apple store in Dubai, and it's a massive 40,000 square feet store. And I just wanted to buy a pair of AirPods, which is a very standard Apple product. Now, A, where am I supposed to look for this product in this massive store? And B, how am I supposed to actually buy it? So I was just wandering around, and the Apple employee came up to me and said, are you looking for something? I said, yes. She said, no worry, just wait here. In a minute, she walkie-talkied someone, a trolley arrived with the AirPod. She had an RFID in a watch, which tapped to the counter. The cash was embedded into the gondola. It just popped out. She made my bill, gave me the packet, said, thank you, sir, goodbye. So in that 30,000 square feet store, all it took was a minute for me to get my thing and walk out. And that is the power of technology and consumer experience. And the third one, which is even scarier, is, how our kids shop today. So I was with my son in the H&M store in Calcutta, and we picked out some clothing, and, we went to the queue, and there was a massive 30-minute long queue in the section, and I was just ready to drop these and go home. I was like, I'm not waiting. So my son's like, why don't you just pick all this, add it to cart, and we'll go home, and it's going to come. Why should we wait in this queue, Dad? And I was amazed at, how these kids think now. And it's just scary to think that, all technologies are available. Truly speaking today, everything is available. So it's just how you want to think about your consumer journey and how you want to kind of bring in these moments of delight and convenience, and through technology, of course. And that is where we need to be as retailers. And I think, as I said, my honest answer is we've done nothing till now.
Wow, great. I think great examples, and just gives us an understanding of how powerful technology can be. Bhaskar, the point I wanted to ask you is, your company is an integral part of the apparel industry for almost 25 years. And you all have been seeing every bit of it, from the front end to the back end, in store, out of store, from design to manufacture to prototyping, everything. So what are some of the changes that you've seen over the last 5 to 10 years where technology has begun to play a bigger role in the way you design your processes?
Thank you. I think most of the speakers have already spoken about the influence of technology. And we are working with over 600 brands in India. And some of the largest brands like Maneuver and Patil, they are all in Genesis. So basically what we see, businesses now are more concerned about understanding the customer journey, right? That is extremely important for them. So at one point in time, when we interacted with our potential customers or existing customers, they talked about need of intelligence, right? Various points of intelligence, various points of interaction with the client, from which they can derive intelligence. But increasingly, they have realized that if you continue to have silos of information within the organization, then your intelligence will also be fragmented. And that will not give you a 360-degree view of what you wish to do with your customers. It doesn't help in understanding your customer's journey, their preferences, their behavioral part of it, the changing trends, the seasonal trends that are coming up, how your stores are performing, how the demographics are responding to your product mixes. So that becomes increasingly difficult. So what most of the business are aware of now, and they are trying to do it with help of Genesis, is integrating their entire business flows or business cycle and points of information in an integrated base. That is something they have learned. The second thing that they are trying to do increasingly is personalize campaigns and take a lot of create a lot of products and assortments. They're not pushing their products down the neck of their consumers. They're very responsive. They are treating customers as extremely important factor and input in their product designs in terms of creating product assortments for their stores. And they are also putting a lot of focus on intelligent replenishment in reducing their inventory that is non-functional. And even when they are trying to go omnichannel or trying to leverage the digital platforms, they are extremely conscious about their entire customer journey that they're being able to capture. So there are many things that they are trying to deploy, but the focus continues to be integration of all information systems and bring a lot of focus on changing customer trends and preferences.
Sure, thank you. I've kept the last two questions to two pure play retailers. One is a jewelry retailer, Kunjan, and the other is Aditya, who's in the cafe business. And the larger thought was because they are the ones who will end up becoming the testing grounds for a lot of technology, and they will have people who will buy offline and online, and consequently they will have the biggest impact of technology. So if I were to ask you, Kunjan, in terms of your jewelry business, where there is, on the one side, there is design. The second, there is a huge assortment. Third, there is inventory management. Fourth, these are products which are prone to pilferage. So there is an RFID element which comes out there. Fifth is the fact that, how do I decide or determine what is actually selling and what is not selling? What should I replenish? Which categories are doing well? In addition to, of course, the usual things of POS and CRM and things like that. So how do you actually think about these aspects in the business?
See, this is a very good question for a company like us. Desai Jewellers Private Limited, the brand which we are selling is a Srihari. And when we talk about Srihari, just wanted to clarify one thing, that all glitters are not gold. And similarly, it applies to Srihari also. We are jewelers, but we do not sell any gold jewelry or silver jewelry or diamond jewelry. What we sell is an imitation jewelry which has a coating of gold on the jewelries. So we want customers to buy gold at a very cheaper rate. We want to give them experience that, okay, you have look and feel of gold jewelry, but you don't pay such a high price. Now, you rightly pointed out, when I talk about my company, we have about 40,000 SKU right now, spread across 53 categories. And we have two big retail outlets, one about 5,000 square feet and another about 4,000 square feet. And we have about 4,000 B2B customer base who are selling those products to the retail consumers. So indirectly, we have about 4,000 plus two of our own store which are open to the retail consumers. Now, if you really talk about consumers, we all know that in retail segment, consumers are the king. We spoke about how customers are influencing the retail segment in earlier sessions also. So when we talk about customers, we have three questions. First question is what customer wants, when customer wants, and how it wants. Now, if I start the answer from the back side, how customer wants it. We have the omni-channel. Earlier, there was a single window. Then it came the multi-channel. Now it's an omni-channel. Well, customer have option of either entering the store or ordering online or maybe coming down the store, placing the order, go home and get it delivered, or maybe placing order online and come to the store, make a selection out of the products that we have in the store. So how we are dealing with omnichannel things. Now the big question is what customer wants and when do they want. Now both the answers comes from the technology. We have a digital bank, we have data bank, which provides answers to what we want to manufacture and offer to the customer. We have database where we analyze the 360-degree pattern of the customer. We know what customers are looking for. So once we know that customers are looking for, we know that this season, customer would be looking at this products, this category of items, this value of the items. We take up our production according to that. So that helps us to produce the item and ultimately those items gets sold to the customer. So that digitalization gives us a better picture on what we want to do.
Sure. Thanks. Aditya, you're in the beverage experience business, which is people come in and unlike, let's say, in several other parts of the world where, you have an app and you come in and pick up your coffee and you go, in your case, people come in to have the tea in the cafe because you've got 1,500 square feet cafes and people spend a certain amount of time. So there is one part of technology, which is the consumer side technology. There's one part of technology, which is your tea production technology. And then there is a third part, which is in terms of the store. So when you really think about it in terms of how technology plays a role, how do you create consistent tea in all your cafes if it is prepared by hand? Or if it is a machine, then how do you create a machine which produces consistent tea, which is your production technology part of it? Then there is the fact that people are walking into your cafes and they're buying and you don't know who they are, but hopefully you capture something about them at the cash till to be able to keep track of who they are. And then the third part of it is that you also want to understand what is the productivity of the store. So they come in, they occupy a table, they spend 45 minutes, or they come in, they bring a laptop, sit there for 2 hours. Obviously, table turns suffer. So how do you look at all of these things?
So in our cafes, predominantly, the truth is that we are a touch industry. So as much as we digitize things, it has to be, touch is why a customer comes back to us. If we know the customer by his name, if we serve the same product over and over again, and if he gets the same experience all over again, is when he recommends us to others. So as much as we digitize, but then the touch feel is the warmth is because of which the customer comes back again and again. He should feel that it's his home, right? So while all of this is taken, we've digitized a lot of our customer touch points. The customer journey. While a customer walks in, the waitlist management tool, it's managed by a different software. We have the standard point of sale, which when we began 12 years back, we had the same standard point of sale. So then when a customer comes in, we've given our service boys a tab. So as long as every customer now is that's the truth. Every customer now is for us a mobile number, right? So that's what we first capture when a customer walks in. So with the mobile number, we given our waiters the tabs. The moment they feed the mobile number, they know what the customer has ordered the last time he was here, and what is the customer's most favorite ordered item. So that's what a customer wants. If I know his order, if I know what he's had, if I know how much is he going to order, all that is present. That's the digitization we have done. The three key matrices for us. One is table turnaround. The second is how to increase footfall. The third is average per customer. So these are the three maths on which largely all our retail outlets work, apart from the same store sales growth. From the investor standpoint becomes very important for all of us. But then, to be very honest, apart from the normal traditional point of sale, we must be using more than a dozen UPI integrations which we have with our point of sale Like for waitlist management, we are using something else. For digital menu, we are using something else. So for customer feedback, we are using a tool where the moment a customer gives us a feedback, the manager at the restaurant comes to know that a customer has rated a negative comment. So the customer is only our customer till the time he's not walked out of the store. You can change his experience only till the time he's in your outlet. Once he's outside, he's not yours. So largely, we've placed a lot of digital assets throughout our customer journey so that we can provide the same standard customer experience every time a customer is walking into our store. In terms of the standardizing of tea, to be very honest, we've not done any machine-made tea. We have people who've been making the same tea over the last 10, 12, 13 years. And they do picture-perfect work because they are doing the same job over and over again every single day. So we've not done much.
Attrition an issue?
Not really. Attrition is an issue, but for us, like we have a workforce of about 650 people. For us, more than 5 years, the number of employees who are with us for more than 5 years is mostly 30%, which is very, very good for our industry.
And they would be the ones who would typically make the tea.
They are now the leaders for people who had joined us at 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 back then, earning 50, 60,000 today. So they are actually our machines, really. So to be very honest, and the third part of your question, sorry, I missed.
So that is one is about the dwell time and your table turns. I think you covered that.
In terms of table turnaround, what we've really noticed is the more amount of time a customer spends at our outlet, he'll spend more money. Nobody sits there for free, He needs something to sip even when he's working, right? So we've not paid much attention to really table turnaround. What we've done is now we've optimized tables. Earlier, what we used to do is every outlet used to have 4-seater tables. So what we've done really now is what we've realized is suppose when you're just entering. So we have tables which are 4-seaters, 2-seaters, 4-seater, 2-seater, so that we have more flexibility to join tables. We have more flexibility to place customer where they want. We have more plug points available for customers to work. So largely it's the convenience aspect which is more important for our industry, to be very honest.
Great, thank you. I think I can see a big time up there. So I know it's a tough one to do a panel with so many people with different backgrounds, but I hope we managed to spend some time and generate some interest in the kind of work that each one of them is doing, recognizing the changes that technology is bringing upon them and their businesses, and then trying to ensure that they're able to capitalize on some of these for their own benefit. So thank you very much, all the panelists, for a lovely time and sharing so freely from your experience. Thanks a lot.